To be actually a little less sciencey about things for the next few minutes. Like,
all right, Doug, be less sciencey. Let's see if he can do it. I don't think he can.
No,
way less
you
sciencey.
read too many books.
Although he does hang out with me quite a bit, so I probably dumbed him down.
This is true.
I was going to say, like, at the very beginning, I was talking about how fish oil is very broad, and the fact that it seems to kind of moderate or affect a lot of different categories. And so we were talking about brain health and cholesterol, and we could probably throw blood pressure in there. We talked about inflammation. If you want to talk about eyesight, it tends to help people's vision and kind of decreases things like macular degeneration, whenever they do studies on depression or like bipolar disease or like aggression for inmates, it always decreases.
Alzheimer's too, yeah? Dementia and Alzheimer's?
Yeah. Any of the
ADHD in children?
Any of the brain disorders, right?
I know with breastfed babies, it's a huge benefit, like to supplement with DHA and plenty of fish oil and breastfeed. If you're having a baby, you should breastfeed your baby. Don't feed your baby the shit that comes in bottles made by industrialized, Monsanto types. But yeah, cutting down on
I'd feed
attention.
my baby Monsanto. I can see that in a commercial, dude.
You know what? I looked
They put
in
steroids in the milk. It's great.
I looked in the Natural Start Life Sync or whatever fancy formula at Schnucks one time just to see. I picked it up. It's like $20 or maybe more for like a little box of formula. The first ingredient is corn syrup solids.
Oh,
You're feeding your fucking precious little newborn child because you're too lazy and pathetic to use your own body to give your baby a superior product. It's disgraceful. Now that I'm at ground zero for breastfeeding and see how important it is.
We should ask Lisa about that. What her opinion on that?
It's tough. I mean, once you're in the situation, you go, wow, I can't understand why anybody would choose that.
I've actually
It's really expensive.
my
Free and superior versus really expensive and very
yeah.
low
I just
quality.
saw a guy at the store. He bought like $150 worth of formula.
It's
X.
my
it'd
my
be like
wife
if,
my
it'd be
wife's
like
father.
if grass-fed beef was free and McDonald's was $100 for chicken nuggets, and you still fucking
you still bought McDonald's, yeah.
you'd have no excuse. You should die.
My wife's dad, actually, he couldn't tolerate breast milk when he was a baby, so they raised him on goat milk.
That's
Which
crazy.
is, and it was funny. He's like, I was totally raised on goat milk. He's like, man.
He had just
Actually,
allergic reactions or something to it.
So what?
Allergic
Yeah, I
reactions?
think I'm not exactly sure
allergic
what
to his
the deal
mom?
was. So he's a weird dude, though. So I think it has something to do with the goat milk.
And now you're drinking a lot of goat milk.
I drink a lot of goat-
He eats cans.
Well, that's probably why my wife married me.
Because you drink goat milk.
Yeah.
You're a weirdo.
I just
One of your many
recently
theories.
stopped drinking goat milk because I was tired of being fat. So
Well, actually,
But you were huge.
on Chris's topic of newborns, we were talking earlier about how DHA is one of the primary components of brain tissue. So whenever they do studies on older people, people that supplement with fish oil tend to delay dementia and they stay smarter for longer in the older populations. And then as far as children, Chris was suggesting that moms should breastfeed because breast milk tends to have more DHA in it than formula does. DHA is expensive, so they don't put a whole lot in there. Whenever they do studies on children, whenever mothers supplement with DHA in the third trimester and the first couple they supplement, in the third trimester, and then breastfeed through the first couple of years of life, children tend to be smarter at age 5 whenever they test them for things like variety and vocabulary. So it makes children smarter faster, and it keeps old people smarter longer.
dude, my kids are gonna be so super. They're gonna be under a barbell, and they will have been supplemented with the highest grade fish oil
And
on the
unlike-
market.
unlike
they're
Ron-
gonna kick everyone else's kids' asses. I'm telling you right now.
Unlike Reagan, they won't die pathetic, dementia-riddled,
No.
faux idol.
Will you stop it? Why do you think I like Reagan so much? I
don't know.
I don't know. He did a pretty good job, in my opinion.
I don't know. Hell of an actor.
Except for the Iran-Contra thing. All right, anyways, we're going to bring Lisa Mack in. Everyone say goodbye to Alex. He's having to give up his microphone.
Get out of here, Max.
Breastfeeding.
You're gonna edit this transition now, right?
No, we don't need to edit this. This is natural.
Can we take a moment to plug our sponsor? Not really. Modelo beer, smooth, like a Mexican afternoon.
And we ran out of Modelo, so I've got Dos Equis in my hand. Which, I mean, I can't complain terribly.
Who is supposed to be sponsored by exactly?
Mobility kits.
McGoldrick's gonna give you money to sponsor this deal now?
He better.
He should.
Yeah.
Yeah, he must. Mobility. You should be able to move like me. Buy my kit.
Was it last night? So McGoldrick made this pretty fantastic mobility kit, actually. And he asked me last night, he goes, hey, do you mind if I, like, pitch my product to the 6 o'clock class? Like, regular CrossFit class. And I thought he said originally, like, the fundamentals class. And it was, like, day one fundamentals. I'm like, no! These people have no idea what you're going to talk about. He's like, and he looks at me like, oh, I'm, like, he was hurt. And I was like, oh, 6 o'clock. Yeah, you can tell those guys. And, like, half the class was like, yeah, I want to buy one, so.
So what's in a mobility kit?
Tell us all about it.
It's a roller. It comes in a little bag that's got a, what's it called when you put something on drawstring? Yeah, whatever. Anyways,
is there a term for putting something in a bag with a drawstring?
It's a foam roller, and inside the foam roller, you've got 2 lacrosse balls. That actually, you put them in this little sleeve thing, and you got a peanut. And you got one of those roller stick thingies. And
Lisa, I'm really happy you're on the show with us today.
Thank you. I have a lot to say.
And so the mobility kits are pretty awesome. So Lisa, what do you think about mobility kits?
I don't have one.
Do you do any mobility work in your day-to-day training activities?
I don't. I should, but I don't.
Why do you say you should? Do you have tightness and soreness and limited range of motion?
I'm very flexible.
This is a Howard Stern episode just waiting to happen.
I was waiting for that.
Oh, no.
I will.
That is not what I meant at all.
We're gonna have to bring your husband in for these sessions.
I
heard that
we should
podcast.
explore.
You can't go over there anymore.
Yeah, where is your husband?
It makes me think.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, once you get off work.
It makes me think.
That wasn't me.
Whoa. My thing just went limp.
Twist it back up.
Yeah, tighten that deal. It begs a question. Do you think people, and I'm just asking the question.
I know what you're going to say.
Go
ahead.
What am I saying? No,
Just
let's
say
test your theory.
You're going to say, do people really need it?
Well,
or is it just a show? Is it just like, oh, let me go stretch and be like,
well, look,
oh,
there are, I see what CrossFitters do. There's a lot of focus on mobility sometimes. It's like as important as the training. And then I see what powerlifters do, which is probably too little. Almost no focus on mobility. We've brought Sam up quite a bit. He's now pain free in certain range of motion and can actually put a pussy pipe behind his neck, which is a small miracle. And then they're and strongmen are probably in the same boot. Then there's
get this guy under a squat bar is very
it's tough.
Comedic.
And there's weightlifters who are very, very flexible and mobile, but they don't do any stretching really. What they do is they take a bar and they hold over their head and they do a bunch of reps just the bar. So it's very like sort of specialized mobility. My question to you, the panel, is this hyper focus on mobility just a bunch of silly bullshit?
I think it's for different strokes for different folks because I have never stretched or done anything. I've been doing this for like 4 or 5 years. I've never needed to. I mean, could it make me better? Maybe, but I've hit some pretty...
No ranges of motion that are limited? No, I can't catch a snatch here, there, or whatever. I can't hit that.
Lisa's got a pretty good requisite amount of mobility at every joint she would need, I would think.
Okay, literally, my elementary school teacher, we had to do these like flexibility tests, and I won the whole. Like he was like, "You're rubber band girl." Like, he was like, "That's like what he called me," which is
the little
creepy.
metal box. You lean forward, you push the little thing.
He was like, "Wow, you've like you win the record or something." You
win the record.
Yeah, so you get.
So obviously, if you're a weightlifter and you can't. You can't rack the bar in a front squat position. You should be doing specific things to help your mobility.
I see it in CrossFit all the time. What ends up happening is
there are guys who treat it like a fucking religion.
I'll tell you what. I think there are some guys, and I'm not going to name any names, but I know some guys that do a lot of mobility that's probably unnecessary. I think they're doing it just to say they're doing it, and they feel like it's helping out their performance. And if they feel like it's helping out their performance, let them. You know what I mean? So I have that shit psychological anyway.
Because there is evidence, it may be shitty, but there is evidence that you don't want to be too flexible.
Right. So,
especially if you're trying to be powerful.
Like me personally, most of my joints are almost they're just there for mobility, and I don't do it anymore. Anytime I start doing mobility work,
don't flatter yourself.
I'm perfect. So
you know who hasn't been saying much is Doug, and he's like the mobility king. You know, what do you think?
I was giving you the spotlight.